Alright guys, I hope you're good and great, and welcome to this tutorial and live about Substance and Guerilla. First of all, I want to say a big up to my fellow friends of Golem who are in live right now, so nobody has to be torn between our live and them, and of course it's gonna be replayed, so I hope you can watch this one or them when you want to. So also I wanna say a big thanks to the Adobe Substance team, and of course my fellow friends Paul and Colin and also Anthony, and that are working right now on this wonderful softwares, even if I'm say word I can have to say about Substance. I really enjoy to use this package. So this tutorial is going to be about Substance Designer and mainly the workflow between Substance and Guerilla. So there's going to be no much differences for you that maybe you're waiting for something about Painter. And when I focus on the designer part, because for my point of view, designer is way more advanced for the usage of VFX and animation than the version of Painter. So that's why I wanna talk about this one. And there is my Discord who is playing, so I just shut down my Discord. Okay. Feel free to ask a question. I've got an eye on the chat, so feel free to interrupt me if I'm go too fast. And of course, I want to say hello to all my fellow friends and team from Mercenaries, and of course Jean-Michel was around, Rejan was moderating the chat, and I don't know who was around, but I'll be pleased to have a chat with you. Okay, and so we're gonna start with the Substance part, and after that we're gonna move to the Guerilla part. But we need to set up some basic concepts that is going to be really useful for you or for any other software that's really big generators. So we're going to talk about the PBR. What is PBR? It's a lot of things, so I'm gonna be really non-exhaustive in this explanation. But physically based rendering, it's a concept that we are gonna start to use shading base we're gonna shade with physical value, and of course physical interaction. And one of the biggest part about the physical interaction is going to be to get a shader which is energy conservative. So that's something that's super important to keep in mind, that PBR mean physical values. Of course, it's physically based, and of course energy conservative. That's the second principle of the thermodynamic, if I'm still right. Maybe I already had a chat about that, or maybe a tutorial about the energy conservation in shader. I guess if you have a look to the new release tutorial about the about the Uber shaders, the Surface 2, I'm talking about the energy conservation. So PBR basic parameters are going to be 4 parameters, and I'm taking some things are really general. So after that, I'm gonna be more. I'm gonna focus on what we're interested in. So PBR basic parameters are gonna be 4 parameters. So there's gonna be one parameter who is gonna define the color. So there's gonna be one parameter who is gonna define the normality, the normal vector of the surface. So there's gonna be one parameter who is gonna drive the reflection, and there's gonna going to be, and maybe the color of the reflection, and one parameter was going to drive the direction, dispersion of the surface. It was really hard to not use the word of roughness and glossiness for you guys in the last parameters, but that's the more generally, it's the surface, dispersion, direction. And to define that, we got two main workflows. There's going to be one with the PBR roughness, metalness, and the other one is going to be the glossiness, peculiarity. And Guerilla is going to stick to the roughness, metalness workflow. So that's super important. If you use any software, and particularly Substance, first of all, you need to stick in your mind that we're going to use a roughness, metalness system. What is roughness, metalness system? It's a definition of the four parameters that I explained before, based on the metallic or metalness of the matter. Maybe I'm not really I'm not super sure about what I'm gonna tell. I need it just because it's in my mind right now. But in fact, in 2012, Disney started to use mainly these workflows, and they defined that only with 4 maps. That's because we're going to talk about creating maps. We're going to be able to produce maybe 95% of the look that we want to use. Of course, there is some limitation into that, but we're going to stick to the simple concept with these 4 maps. One of them, what I call color, can be called the I'm gonna maybe refer that as an albedo or base color. And the reflection, I'm gonna refer that at metalness or middle map. Normal is gonna be normal, and surface dispersion direction is gonna be roughness, and of course the opposite of roughness is gonna be glossiness. What is albedo? Albedo, it's a color. Maybe some people are gonna refer to diffuse map, but that's not really exactly the same. So albedo, it's a definition of the color of the shader. It's a color map. It should be color corrected. That's something that we're gonna have a look to. And of course, there is some limitation because it's physically based. That's maybe one of the difference between a diffuse map and an albedo. You got some limitation of the physical world. The darkest, so I'm talking about luminance. So this is the darkest element that defines the so the darkest element in the world. It's the charcoal. Even if you have a look about the Vanta Black, this is not dark as the charcoal. It's just the play of optics. It's a trap of light. It's not because the object is dark. And there is a maximum, which is the fresh snow, which is around 896. If you are interested in more information, I just had a look this afternoon for to be sure about my value. Chris, my fellow friend Chris, got a really interesting talk about the albedo right there. Albedo, I guess, is not gonna be around. I don't know where is the albedo. I don't know where it is, but I saw this afternoon that there is some information about albedo around, so I don't wanna explode your ears with that albedo definition. Yeah, that's it. So there is a really nice chapter about the albedo definition on the Christopher book, so I've looked into that. It's gonna be more interesting than my simple slide about that. Just keep in mind that there is some limitation. Metalness or metal, so define if a pixel or a part of surface is metallic or not. It's a one-dimension map, so it's going to be a grayscale. Maybe I'm going to refer that as a scalar or a float. It's going to be the same thing. It's just going to be a grayscale of information. I didn't write it on my slide, but physically talking, there is no object that are I will say mid-gray metal, and an object is metallic or not. But for us in the 3D world, sometimes we need to cheat, and of course that's our job. So we can define values that are not really pure black or pure white. But if we were talking about definitely physically talking, we should only use 0 or black or 1 or white for defining the metalness. Of course, that's not the real case in 3D. This value, as any grayscale, should not be color corrected. Okay, so it's raw data. It just define a mask or it just define a float, so it need to be read by the shader as non-color corrected. Of course, there is, if you don't have the choice, you can work with it, but we need to start to work with really good basis, so it should not be color corrected. Normal map, there is nothing really fancy about that. That's the regular normal map that you use before using any PBR system. Watch out, Guerilla need an apogee oriented map. That's something that we will have a look later. And because there is another way, there is a DirectX system. So Guerilla, if you wanna plug and play with Guerilla, you need to use OpenGL. And it's a vector, so it should not be color corrected also. And roughness, it's the amount or the quantity of roughness of a surface. So it's based on the irregularity of the surface. It's going to be a grayscale. At 0, surface it's super smooth. At 1, the surface is really rough. So there is a lot of irregularity, and this map should not be corrected. Okay. I hope there's no question so far. So good. Any question, guys? Feel free to ask anything about that. Okay, so I will keep a look on the chat. Sorry. So I just opened Substance. Nothing fancy with it. That's one of the last version of Substance. I don't know which one, but I downloaded it yesterday, I guess, or yeah, that's maybe a version from yesterday. Okay, that's the 2021.2 version. That's the last one. One of the main new features for us that's going to interest us is going to be the handling of the color management, which was something I was dying for. I wouldn't say decades, but I would say maybe years. There is also the color management upon Color.io. That's not something I'm gonna use today because that's not part of the talk. But it's so I'm gonna keep it in the legacy way. It's gonna work pretty well with the Guerilla so far. But one of the major feature of this new Substance Designer is gonna be the upon Color.io system to play with. Okay, so I'm gonna create a new package and I'm gonna create a new substance graph. And as I told you, I'm gonna use the PBR metallic roughness package. So the substance graph, sorry. So I'm gonna say, so I'm gonna call it add, and you're gonna understand why I'm gonna call that add. First of all, one thing I really like to do, it's removing the ambient occlusion map, because that's something I'm not going to use into Guerilla. Maybe later I will show you how to create a template to fit your Guerilla needed, but I'm going to keep it simple. So we're going to find back our base color or albedo. We're going to find our directly or normal, our roughness, and last metallic, and last but not least, something I didn't talk about, and maybe I'm not gonna use that. That's the displacement, but or 8 map can be used as a bump or a displacement, but I will stick to the base material system that are just right there. Okay, so let's create something super simple. I'm gonna just create a base material in Substance. And hello, Glenn. So that's a base material. I'm gonna connect this base material to my substance output. So I'm gonna remove all the stuff, my roughness, and of course my metallic right there. Okay, so what I will do is I will go for the meta roughness PBR workflow. That's already what we set up in the substance graph, so we stick to the same workflow. And I'm gonna start to play with and say that I'm gonna start with the setup. It's gonna be simple. So I will start to create gold. Okay, that's the look of the gold. Perfect. Okay, right there. And I'm gonna start to export it. Already got my no. Okay, perfect. That's I wanna be sure. So okay, I'm gonna export it. So I'm gonna export my maps as bitmaps right there. Okay, and I'm gonna stick to something super simple. I'm gonna produce or PNG, or I can play with the EXR. I'm not more used about exporting EXR, but I want to go faster, so I'm gonna use PNG in this case. I'm gonna only export the format, the base color, normal, roughness, metallic, and as you can see, this one is going to be color corrected because it's going to be an sRGB output, but the other one are not going to be color corrected. So meaning in the language of a substance designer, it's going to be a raw color correction, meaning that there is no color correction. Okay, perfect. We're gonna find a folder right there. That's perfect. Okay, let's export this map. I guess it's good. Well, okay, substance folder 1, it's exported. Nice. So I'm gonna go to Guerilla. That's a brand new fresh scene from Guerilla. I'm gonna create a simple sphere. Okay, and I'm gonna create a skylight, something super simple. I'm gonna keep super simple. Okay, skylight settings right there. I'm gonna fit to my view and create a perfect sphere, which is not super round. It's gonna traumatize me. Okay, subdivision. Let's go for 2. I hope it's gonna be smooth enough. Perfect. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna create a super simple shader, which is surface 2 right there, and I'm gonna connect everything into Guerilla. So what I want to show you, it's where I want to plug my maps. So I'm going to plug my base color into multiple input, and also my roughness into multiple input. And as you can see, I'm going to start to get my back of my look I've got from my goal system. Okay, so let's go. I've got my maps right there. This is my diffuse color. I'm gonna plug it. Perfect. This is my metal map. So my metal map is gonna be plug into my metal input right there. So sorry, it's a little mess. Sorry. So first of all, I connect the base color into the diffuse color, and I'm gonna connect also my base color into my metal color. Okay, after that I'm gonna connect my metal map into my metal parameters. Okay, after that I'm gonna connect my normal map into my normal input right there. Okay, perfect. And last but not least, I'm gonna connect my roughness into my spec 1 roughness and into my metal roughness right there. Okay, perfect. And I'm gonna start render. We need to convert all the map into text, or they are pretty small. It's not gonna take that long. And I'm sorry, I forget to plug my roughness. No, okay, that's good. So this is the basic way of going from Substance to Guerilla. It's to plug all these maps from a base material into the input of Guerilla. So why there is so many map to plug, because Substance it's only delivering 4 maps, and in Guerilla we need more. We need to plug these 4 maps into more input. It's because Substance, it try to be sober for the usage of video games, but that's something that we need to keep in mind for us. First, in the VFX and animation, we can can be less sober, and we can connect a lot of maps into different inputs, and that's something that you will see with the normal case. We're going to be able to connect the normal only in specific input, and driving the normality with other map of that. Okay. So that's the basic plug and play system to directly connect that. I want to go for something more interesting. So I already prepared some simple sets. I want to go for something like a big tank, but I don't have time for that. So I just drag and drop an FBX, which is the dedicated format to use with Substance Designer. And this asset, it's an asset I download from the Substance. That's a really nice example of a probe to try your texture and all your smart material system that you want to try on the Substance. I'm gonna connect all this stuff to my head. Perfect, that's it. So I've got already this, and I'm gonna move directly to my matte look right there. Perfect. So I'm gonna trigger render, and I've got nothing because I've got no light. One thing I love to do with Substance, it's because most of the time our artists want to get something, want to go back and forward between Substance and Guerilla. They want to be sure that they are watching the same information. So one thing I love to do, it's using the environment of Substance. So I don't know which one. Do someone want to pick one? Okay. Let's say that we're gonna go for the let's go for the basic studio right there, Studio 2. Okay, so I'm gonna drag and drop the Studio 2 environment map right there. Okay. Perfect. And one thing most of the time I do, it's I copy the exr.rb that are in the Substance directory in the environment. So, and I love to get them by hand and use them directly into Guerilla. So with this, we're gonna be sure that we got the same lighting system, same environment between Guerilla and Substance. Just a question of ponderation of the light, but it's going to be the mainly the same stuff. So that's Studio 2, so we're going to use the Studio 2 input. I'm going to create an environment light right there. Okay. And I'm going to drag and drop my map, which is the Studio 2 and all the studios right there. So my map, I'm gonna drag and drop it in Guerilla. So that's it. It's a lat long. It's a latitude longitude map, or equirectangular. That's the same word. It's always 2x1. So that's definitely what we love to use into the workflow 3G for using HDRI map. And so I'm just gonna check the that long right there, and I'm gonna trigger render, and that's it. That's my Azure map, which I can use for using for that. So I can I just created already matte look graph just to be clean, so all my look is gonna be around there, and that's why my object is pure model. And so I'm gonna use the map I export. There is gonna be there, and I'm gonna be able to keep my, I'm gonna compare my look. So again, perfect. Specularity, well, I'm doing the big show because I know that some part are not gonna be useful, and of course the normal map right there. Okay, also right there. One thing I didn't talk already about, it's gonna be the color correction. As you can see, the color correction of Guerilla can take part into the reading of the map, and Guerilla Rhino, which is fully based on Color.io, are going to use the data input to handle the raw information. So that's a good thing. As you can see, he's going to use I can tell him to use the sRGB to be sure that my map is going to be handled as an sRGB. I can also have a look at my roughness, which is going to be data, perfect. And roughness right there is going to be data, and color is going to be, to be sure, sRGB. Okay, and it should be good. Of course, normal is going to be data also, like I told you. So metal is not color corrected, normal is not going to be color corrected, diffuse color is going to be color corrected, roughness is going to be color corrected for spec and metal, and metal color is going to be color corrected, and that's it. Perfect, so we got it. I only affected my object to the edge, so I'm gonna keep it this way. Okay, beam, and that's it. I've got my map right there, and you can find that you can see that I've got pretty much something really close. Maybe I've got some issues with the orientation of my look. Let's have a look into my okay, so I need to turn my light for 90 degrees. Okay, I guess it's gonna be -19. Sorry, it was the invert. Okay, so I've got exactly the same light in my two cases. Okay, perfect. We're gonna set up the renderer to get something more sampled. Let's say that we'll go for something like that, and okay, and it's gonna be it's gonna be less grainy into my rendering. Okay, so we start to get something that is really close between the two. This is really close between the two renderer, and okay. So this is how I can use a workflow between Guerilla and a Substance into Guerilla. Just a question about connecting the PBR map into our system. Let's have fun, and we're gonna have a look about how we can improve the speed of the workflow of our system. Okay. But first of all, Guerilla shader, it's a newer shader, so like I told you, it's more complex than the base material shader of Substance, and there is more entries, so sometimes it can be tricky to connect some stuff, and that's why we need to sometimes that's why we create with the Guerilla 2.2 a new system, new binding to go faster and connect everything with the huge brand new Uber shader material. So but I'm gonna go back to Substance, and I wanna have fun because this is fun. So I'm gonna create a new Substance graph right there, and I'm gonna call it body right there. Okay, this is my body. I'm gonna organize that like this. Okay, and this is my body, and I'm gonna stop to say body. Okay, I grabbed some I download some shader directly map from Substance Share, so I'm gonna use them directly because I want to go faster, and I'm gonna drag and drop directly this map. So this map, it's camouflage, and I know a lot of people that know me are not gonna be really surprised about that. So that's a camouflage. I connect directly into the body, and of course I'm gonna why I can use that at my body base color. Okay, great. So right now, that's more Substance binding. I'm gonna connect some my input directly into my preview shader of substance, and I'm gonna connect this roughness into my body roughness, and I'm gonna connect also my metallic into my metallic input. Perfect. Okay, and I'm gonna use some smart I will say I guess I've got some stuff I discovered. And I'm not really a huge pro of I'm not really a professional of substance, so I saw some smart stuff like the images. Yeah, that's my 8 images. It's gonna be more interesting into my head, so I'm gonna switch to my head graph. Okay, perfect. And I'm gonna create some okay, I need to bake some stuff, so I'm gonna go I'm gonna bake my informations, and okay, that's it. So I need an ambient occlusion, and I need a curvature. Okay, Paul Emile, I'm not gonna tell anyone that you are late. And okay, so I've got my ambient occlusion, and I've got my curvature right there. Okay, so I'm sorry. Okay, so I use a curvature. Okay, how I can fit this stuff? Okay, perfect. So ambient occlusion. Okay, so ambient occlusion, curvature, map from mesh. Okay, we're gonna already prepare some folder to export my baked map. Okay, let's hope it's gonna work. Yeah, perfect. He's using that per mesh. Awesome. Okay, that's not awesome. I guess it baked. Okay, baked everything, so I need to stick with my okay, substance UD mesh. Perfect. Okay, okay, so let's start this one. So this is gonna be my head map. Okay, so I was hoping that I can use that as okay, maybe I did something wrong. I import that as a UDIM and it's not UDIM based. Okay, that's my big error. Okay, I'm gonna remove it, and okay, also this one and also this one, and I'm gonna drag and drop also my asset up. Substance is not that smart and is gonna question me. Okay, is this a UD mesh? Nope. Okay, it's no UDIM. Curvature map. Okay, and ambient occlusion. Okay, I'm gonna substance test baked. Okay, it baked everything. Big name, custom material, blah blah blah, mesh meet mat, and I'm gonna add the material part. Okay, that was missing. Okay, material right there. Okay, that's it. That's why it was overriding my my system. Okay, so let's start with it. So we're gonna bake my head. We're gonna bake body, and we're gonna bake the base. Okay, nice. Okay, so I've got my head curvature map that I'm gonna import there. My head ambient occlusion, I'm gonna connect it right, and I'm gonna use that as a mask. So I don't know, I'm gonna create a new base material, something super simple, and maybe I've got some dielectric. Okay, so it's gonna be I already downloaded the plastic one, so I'm gonna use this plastic. Okay, I guess I've got something like that fakes the carbon fiber. Perfect, that's exactly what I want. I would love to use carbon fiber. And I'm gonna use a blend, but I guess it's gonna be a material blend. Perfect. Okay, so this material blend, as we are working with PBR system, we don't need any diffuse, we don't need any specular, we don't need any glossiness. So we're gonna keep it to the only these 4 maps. And okay. I don't want you. Okay. Right there. And right there. Okay. And I will plug this grayscale mask, which is the case of my system, and we're gonna say that and that and that. Oh Lord. Okay, so metallic and 8 map. Okay, well, I'm not gonna use the 8 map, I don't care. And I'm gonna use this head as the view in the 3D view. Okay, nice. So as you can see, I use the curvature map to draw the influences of my system, and there is a messed up. Well, okay, that's funny. It's mixing at some part there. So we're gonna play with. I want to get something more contrasty. I want to get something that some part. Okay, perfect. At some part, I've got the carbon fiber, and I've got the not something that it's a mix between the two of them. So let's say that I'm gonna get something more like that. Okay, perfect. I'm not really sure that I can use carbon fiber over something that it's gold mesh, but anyway. Okay, cool. And I'm gonna export everything. First of all, I'm gonna save my substance, and I'm gonna say that is gonna be my mat2. Okay, and I'm gonna export my maps. I guess he's not really happy about this one. Anyway, long story short. And we're gonna export my maps, and it's gonna be head, base color, PNG. It's gonna be in the 1. Okay. Is this good? Perfect. Okay, and I'm gonna export my body. Also, up. Good. Okay, it's exported. So let's go back to my material look development, and so I've got a shader. I'm gonna save this this one, and for any trace purpose. And okay, so right now, I'm gonna use the brand new workflow that we introduced into Guerilla 2.2. We got right now a new way of connecting everything, and it's gonna be more faster. I'm gonna use directly a material node right there. I'm gonna set this material to surface as a surface 2, and we got already a preset for substance, which is called substance, and you can directly create the substance input. You just have to read your map. So my map is gonna be a texture, and sorry, right there. Okay, as an sRGB, and I've got my roughness map, which is gonna be there. Okay, so it's gonna be a mask texture because it's gonna be a float. So mask texture is gonna be there, right there. Okay. And as you saw that metal, it just needs one drop. So right there, metal is gonna be as a data. And last but not least, my normal input, which is right there. And okay, let's have fun. Okay, nice. So it's working, perfect. I'm starting to get back my, I've got my my settings. And of course, sorry, I forget to use the specularity to 1. That's something I forget to tell you. If you wanna stick to the look of substance, you need always to get the specularity at 1. I know that Jean-Michel told that a couple of times in this tutorial, but I need to say again that. Okay, perfect. So let's go for the body system. So we're gonna do mainly the same stuff. Okay, we got resurface 2, sorry, misclick, substance input, and well, okay, yeah, I will show you after that what's in the input of the of this material. So here is my map. Oh, it's an sRGB and no an slog. It will be really surprising to you. The logarithm mask texture system as a response. So this is my roughness right there. Okay, perfect. And specular 1, body middle right there, and normal it just right there. Okay. Let's compute the map into text and let's render. Okay, here is my tiny asset. Perfect. Okay, what there is in the material? In fact, it's a graph. That's a super simple node that Benjamin wrote really recently, and in fact, it just redirecting some information. So there is a base color and roughness, which is gonna drive the amount of directly is gonna connect the base color map into the diffuse color and the roughness directly into the roughness. And that's something that you can edit. It's super simple to edit. If you wanna create a new input, which is can be this something like we are gonna call the IOR, to driving the IOR, you can connect directly into the shader right there. Okay, so IOR is gonna be sets, and okay, and I'm gonna expose it. I'm gonna click on the tiny hole right there. It's gonna turn into orange. And if I'm go back to my system, as you can see, I've got a number. So I can change my input and say that number is going to be the IOR of substance. Okay, and normally you will get, oh, okay, maybe I need to edit this node. Okay. Okay, input. Why I can get the name of my okay, well, never mind. So that's how I can expose some parameters. So right now I've got a number of zeros and IOR, so it's gonna stop to be shiny as I want to. I'm gonna drive right now with an IOR of 1.5, which is the default settings of my system. As you can see, the IOR disappear from there, and it started to be more specular than it was before. Oh, well, than the previous renderer. Okay, that was the basic way to work from Substance to Guerilla. Just a question about plugging the map. Since we got the new material node, you can directly use this system. Please, if you want to create your custom input. I've got one that will release maybe released it into the good question. I will have a look. If you have a look into the GitLab that we share with mainly with Paul-Emile, maybe I export one more complex binding with a substance map to get more connection with the 8 map and displacement, all that stuff. But basically, the material substance that you get right there is going to be good enough. Sorry, that's why I get wrong. It was surface too. Okay. If you got any question, guys, please shoot. So I just set up a very tiny system of. So I've got okay. I exported the camera. I forget about that. Okay, nice. So we're gonna use this camera to connect it, and I'm gonna select my camera, pressing S, and I can directly target it. Okay, so that's my look dev cyclo. Well, feel free to use the use the EX. One of my good advice is if you want to be sure that you got the same look, use the same lighting. So use the same HDR between Substance and Guerilla. In other case, you will get some surprise, and there can be some differences. Jean-Michel was crystal clear, but I'm not very sure I was crystal clear. I'm messing with you, Jean-Michel. ERA 2.0? What do you mean? Yeah, because it's crystal clear. Okay. Got it. Okay, so I don't wanna lie to you guys. When you're gonna need to use a more complex shader, it's gonna be trickier. Mainly, you need to start to play a little bit between the elements. Something I didn't tell you, it's so. Uber shader, it's a way more complex system, and it's a composite material, and so it's a mix between base material and SSS and refraction, and also coating. So that's something that can be really tricky. So that's why it's going to be more complex to get a really ubo look of it. But I know the fellows from Substance working on getting something more complex than the base material and the preview that's going to be really close from the path tracer renderer. If you are interested into going further, it's there is a possibility into Substance to work with coating, and you can get some elements right like this preset that can be created right there and use of that. So I'm gonna finish with showing you how to create a Guerilla template if you don't have any more questions. So this is like I start to get in British accent. I'm so sorry. So I watched British series recently. That's why. And so more seriously, so I've got a more complex shader that I can use, and all this part is gonna be use like the code system. If you don't have, if you don't already saw my my tutorial about the subsurface, I spent a lot of time explaining about all the coding system, so I'm not gonna lose time with that. Watch this previous tutorial. So all the coding can be drawn right there. So there is a code weight, which is gonna be to that's something that you so just to be clear, so the code weight have to be drag and drop into the specular 2. The code specular level, something that we're not going to use. The code roughness need to be connected into the roughness right there, the spec2 roughness, and the code normal need to be drag and drop into the spec2 normal. So spec2 and code are the same stuff, and of course the code color need to be drag and drop into the spec2 color. Mainly you're not going to use color into your specularity because you want to get some varnish effect. I want to say that I want to get something different because I don't know, for any reason. I'm sorry, I forget to tell you something. I just want to be sure I'm telling you that there is some little trick about the normal that Guerilla need to be drove with, and it's about right there. It's really tricky. If you want to export an OpenGL version of your map and to be sure that it's the right space, you need to check right there the normal XYZ right system. So be sure you have checked the color space normal XYZ right if you want to export a nice normal for Guerilla, because Guerilla is using the OpenGL XYZ reference order references. Sorry, I totally forget to tell you that. I wrote it before, and right there it was normal OpenGL oriented, and I'm gonna copy paste this fellow. Tack. It's gonna be better. And if you want to create a Guerilla template, you can create your template the way you want to get. So changing maybe name because you want to get something spec2, or because base normal is not what you need for, or you need some extra map because you want to be sure that Guerilla is going to create an output for the SSS. So I'm going to create an output right there. This output, I'm going to call it SSS right there. It's gonna be a default format. I will say that is gonna be a grayscale luminance. Maybe 8-bit is gonna be enough for this SSS map, or maybe 16, depending. I don't know. Let's say let's go big. Let's go for a 16 luminance offload input, and I'm gonna create a uniform color, and this uniform color is gonna be dark, so my SSS output is gonna be always as dark. I'm gonna label it with an SSS right there. Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna save this this graph, and okay, so this graph is gonna be saved as an SBS. So I'm gonna create a template folder, and it's gonna be called Guerilla. And this one I'm gonna call it Guerilla based. Okay, so I'm gonna save it. We need to go to the preferences and okay, project, and you got, and in general you got a template directory. So I'm gonna pick my template directory, which is the one I just create. Perfect. I'm gonna apply it. I'm gonna close my substance, and I'm gonna start again my substance designer. And normally, if I go to substance graph, I will start to get the Guerilla based system, which is already set up perfectly for what I need. Yeah, SSS is right there. Any question, guys? Okay, so thank you so much for watching this live. I hope it was really useful. I hope it was crystal clear within iOS 2.0 and more. And please feel free to ask any question on Discord. I'll be pleased, and the whole team gonna be pleased, and to answer your question about look development. And I'm really sure that Jean-Michel is gonna show you really more beautiful assets than say my simple one with substance layers in our classes. Bye.